live and
There he is. It's streaming live now.
Welcome back to the public hearings of the Environment and Transportation Committee. I am your friendly chairman, Kumar Barve. I am joined by my vice chairman, Dana Stein, and the marvelous members of my committee. And we are here to hear House Bill 444, which is a Montgomery County, Prince George's County delegation bi-county bill for the Capital Park and Planning Commission. And testifying on behalf of the bill is our good friend, Jay Walker, who is with us. So take it away, Jay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Delegate Jay Walker, representing our Prince George's County. I'm on the clock already, huh?
Yeah, you got 4 minutes though.
I won't take that long, but House Bill 444 is a bill that we came up with regarding innovative recreational youth opportunities or programs. There's some amendments on the bill. If you all see the amendments, they came in conjunction with park and planning. What it does is it establishes a fund for the innovative sports that we need to see in the county. When you talk about innovative funds or innovative programs, there are different things like we want to stay ahead of the curve. I had a friend that was a developer of mine, and he actually said, where does he like to develop his properties? Where do you see the most increase? Wherever you see skate parks. He said, look at the skate parks in DC and you'll start to see what's taking place there in the community and the involvement. And then I went back to Prince George's County and realized that we only have 4 skate parks in the whole city. So what this fund will do is stay ahead of the curve, earmark some money for a fund in which they're thinking outside of the traditional sports, outside of football, basketball, things like that. We're talking about lacrosse walls. We're talking about remote control race car parks. The most popular, the fastest growing sport in recreational sports right now is a sport called pickleball. I don't know if y'all know about pickleball, but it can be played by seniors, it can be played by the youth. Ultimate frisbee, things of that nature. So what this will do is it'll give a Maryland Park and Plan opportunity to say we are keeping aware of the growing trends out there. If they want to get to drone racing, they may want to do that, gaming, technology, but outside of the traditional sports, this would be an innovative youth fund, which I think will do great for decades to come. With that being said, that's as simple as it is.
I only have one question. What's
pickleball? I know you want to know pickleball. I knew you. I know you want to know what pickleball is. And there's a pickleball court that you have to set up and establish. They use it on tennis courts.
Okay.
But pickleball courts are more specialized.
Is it like tennis or what is it?
A version of it. I don't know enough about it. You know, I haven't been paid to commentate pickleball yet, but I've seen it's a shorter version of a tennis court from which they use it with the net. And
okay.
Somebody else may know.
All right. Well, we believe it or not, we have questions. Jen Terraza and Jay Jacobs have questions. Well, Jay Jacobs.
Actually, my question was kind of answered because I wanted to know if Delegate Walker had played pickleball. But if you Google, Mr. Chairman, if you Google pickleball, there's lots and lots of.
Okay.
It's a very popular sport in Howard County.
See?
Oh, all right. All right.
Let's stay ahead of it.
Okay.
Now I know that Delegate Walker hasn't played, but I'd like to see when he does.
I'm going to get it. I'll take the challenge.
Okay. Delegate Jacobs.
Especially for the seasoned citizens, pickleball is very popular.
Okay.
See?
Okay.
All right. I do have a couple questions.
Okay.
I noticed that this bill's got a $2 million a year fiscal note, 4 years.
Yes. Pre-amendment. The amendment takes the $2 million away from the state having to provide the money and takes the money that Park and Planning gets and earmarks a certain portion of it for that. So no cost to the state.
I couldn't hear what you said. You were breaking up that last little bit.
Sure. The amendment establishes the fund and it takes it from the state having to put an appropriation in and allows our Park and Planning to do a separate fund specifically for that. So there's no cost.
Okay. So have you seen what these 2 counties are going to get in this year's capital budget under parks?
Nope.
I understand it's a pretty healthy line item for each county under specifically under parks.
Okay.
Budget.
Okay.
Yeah, you haven't seen that?
No. I'm just saying, even if they got $100,000 or if they got $100, this is money that they've gotten their resources, and we're just establishing a fund that has them do it. So it's not like they come to the state, say, oh, we need $2 million to fund this. It's their existing resources that they have, Delegate Jacobs, and we're just a portion of it for innovative sports, for those people that are underserved and underrepresented.
So just for clarification, that the amendments take away that $2 million a year line item for 4 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I have to tell you, Jay, talking about these innovative sports, you ever see the movie Dodgeball?
Yeah, that's next. Well, no, you can't play dodgeball anymore. It's not politically
he was
correct.
reading Obscure Sports Quarterly.
I love dodgeball, man. What's going on?
It's going away from the schools.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Okay, that ends the hearing on your bill, Jay.
Sure. And one thing to add, you see what I have behind me, the picture in my backdrop. This is Prince George's County Pride Lacrosse Club.
Okay.
My son playing there in the minority. Lacrosse is a state sport, and we don't have any lacrosse balls in Prince George's County. You got them in Montgomery County, you got them in Howard County. I'm taking my son to Howard County all the time in different places, so help catch up and make it diverse. Thank you so much for your time, everybody.
That's right. Not at all. Take care, Jay. Good seeing you. All righty then. That ends the public hearing on House Bill 444. We're going to go straight away into voting list number 14 on today, March 19th. And we have 3 pages of bills, and we're going to start.
A different link for voting.
What?
I said I was just asking. Do we have to?
Kumar, can you pause for 1 minute so we can talk to you?
Sure. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. I'm going to mute myself.
I don't have it updated.
Don't go away.
Yeah,
I believe it's supposed to be a separate link.
Yeah, so I was saying. I thought we had. I was verifying that we need to have a separate link to go to for the voting session.
It said on the website, I think, that it was, the voting would be right after the hearing at the same link.
Oh, okay.
That's right. That's what it said. Let me shut my door.
I just want to make sure we had to start over. That's all. I'm trying to be. I'm trying to make
Just
sure we're right.
stay where you are. Stay where you are. Okay, so we have 3 pages of bills. And this, of course, we're going to start with the 3 withdrawn bills. We're going to vote on those first. And then we're going to go to, and we're going to do the 2 P3 bills last, because.
Mr. Chair, did we get an updated list? Am I missing it?
Yeah, you should have. You should have.
Okay, I see it here.
Okay.
I'm just running to the printer real quick.
Okay. Well, okay. So let me just say that the motion is going to be unfavorable for House Bills 404, 515, and 1103. The motion is unfavorable, withdrawn by sponsor. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and as we always do, we're going to do a roll call so that we can take attendance. So Trish, motion unfavorable, roll call.
Vice Chair Stein,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Learman,
Yes.
Frazier Hidalgo,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Jacobs,
Yes.
Weibel,
Yes.
Ampray,
Yes.
Silverty. He's there.
Barry, you're muted.
Yes.
Wells,
Yes.
Love. She's excused.
Oh, yeah, right. She hasn't, she's excused, right.
Ruth,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Lehman.
Mr. Chair. I
Oh,
think
she's excused also. I'll explain the delegate.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Excused.
Harrison,
Yes.
Tarassa,
Yes.
Parrot,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Jalisi,
Yes.
Anderton,
Cornbread. I saw you in the hallway. Well, absent.
He's just now connecting.
Okay.
Gilchrist,
Yes.
Healy,
Yes.
Chairman votes yes. Okay, so we're going to go to House Bill 23. It is a bill that was primarily in judiciary and secondarily in our committee. And I don't know, Dave, are you prepared to present it, or do you want Delegate Stein to present it?
Delegate Stein, I don't think this is mine.
Oh,
Yeah, I do have the floor report, Mr. Chairman.
oh, do you? Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Kicking me out.
Go ahead. Just
No,
trying
no.
to scare you. Okay, go ahead, Dana.
Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 23 received a favorable report from the Judiciary Committee, which is primary. Before I go into the summary and the amendments, I do want to say it is similar to a bill that we've heard in the past, let's see, 3 years on this issue, but it is somewhat different as well. But so as amended, this bill modifies Maryland's Public Information Act to require an officer, employee, agent, or contractor of the state or a political subdivision to deny inspection of specified records and deny inspection using facial recognition searches by any federal agency seeking access for the purpose of federal immigration enforcement unless provided with a valid warrant. The amendments prohibit redisclosure of certain personal information to a federal agency or agent for immigration enforcement unless presented a valid warrant, clarify that the bill applies to federal immigration enforcement, they alter the reporting requirements, alter the agencies to which certain law enforcement database access restrictions apply, and authorize access to certain law enforcement databases on behalf of the Maryland judiciary. I move the amendments, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
And the second, moved and seconded. Any questions or debate on the amendment? Jerry, do you want to speak on the amendments or the bill itself?
I think it would probably might be the amendment.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, my question or comment on I believe it was the amendment where you said that it was illegal to use facial recognition for immigration and things like.
Unless presented with a warrant.
Okay.
Or
Would that be the same thing for just the average citizen?
I'm sorry.
Would that also apply to the average citizen? Would they have to have a warrant for that?
You mean for citizens to access the database for facial recognition purposes?
Right.
I actually am not 100% sure. I know that there are limitations on accessing personal information through, be it MVA data or the using facial recognition software. I don't know if a warrant is required or there are other restrictions for outside the realm of immigration enforcement. So let me ask Patrick if he knows.
I guess my comment on that would be is whatever that regulation is, it should be the same for both.
Well,
Immigration, I mean, if you're trying to shield the, people that are, not illegal, but, aliens and stuff like that, it should be the same for the average citizen.
What the bill says is that if someone is acting on behalf of you have an individual who's acting on behalf of an agency that is seeking this information for immigration enforcement, then, that person has to submit a warrant. I don't think individuals outside, federal government or, government generally would be seeking this information for immigration enforcement purposes.
Well, I would
Hey,
agree.
hold on. Somebody has some noise in their background. Somebody needs to mute themselves. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I think that my mindset is that even if they're checking on someone for immigration or checking an average citizen for some other reason, if you're going to make them have a warrant for the immigration instance, then they should have to have a warrant for the average everyday citizen to be able to do that also. Why are you,
They
I
wouldn't
mean,
be
we're creating
after
two
an everyday
categories
citizen.
there.
They wouldn't
Yeah,
be going after, they wouldn't be going after an average everyday citizen under an immigration action.
Well, I know that, but I'm saying we shouldn't limit it to the immigration action. I mean, we're creating two classes there of people, and our ultimate goal is not to do that. And you're giving one group of people that may be investigated for immigration, they have to have a warrant, but if I robbed the 7-Eleven down the street, they can go get it without a warrant. Now, is that fair and equal justice?
well, no, I mean, a state, basically, my understanding of the way that access is granted to these databases, that there is, say, law enforcement agencies, local police departments, state police, the DPSCS, which manages these databases, has relationships with those agencies to know who is authorized to make a request for this type of information. So you wouldn't have someone outside, say, one of those agencies who just would be trying to ping the online system for this data, unless it was an agency that was already recognized by these state agencies, MVA, and again, public safety. So I don't think the state agencies wouldn't grant access to someone to these databases unless they're affiliated with one of these law enforcement agencies. And we're saying specifically because of the misuse of this data by ICE that, MVA, DPSC, public safety will have to ask if someone is trying to access these databases, if they're doing it for immigration enforcement, and if so, then provide a warrant. So I don't know if that answers the question, but I don't think.
It doesn't, because I mean, it doesn't have to be ICE to be someone that's misusing that information. It can be a other law enforcement agency.
Well, if they're using it, well, I hear what you're saying. I mean, if they're using it, anytime anyone tries to access these databases under the bill, the relevant state agency would have to ask if it's for immigration enforcement, and then if the answer is yes, provide a warrant. The state agencies otherwise have protocols in place for when someone is, and they, in all cases should be connected with a state or local agency. They have protocols in place to be able to screen those who are making requests for this data to make sure it's an authorized individual with a law enforcement agency. So they have those protocols set up for other situations as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just the way I'm interpreting it then, because the way I'm interpreting it is that what you're saying is if it's somebody from ICE and it's an immigration issue and they want to use this database, they have to have a warrant. If it's any other agency and they want to use it and it's not immigration based, they don't need a warrant. If you need a warrant for one, you should need a warrant for both.
Right. I mean, I hear what you're saying, Delegate. I think the understanding, the protocols that, say, public safety would have with different, say, police departments around the state is that if someone, an authorized requester from that police department is making a request, it is pursuant to law. So they are authorized to get access to this data for law enforcement. So I think the understanding is that there's this good faith understanding that law enforcement at the local level is making a request in accordance with state law. So they're not just going on a fishing expedition.
Well, I mean, other state agencies could go on the same fishing expedition as an ICE officer.
Well,
except ICE officer has to have a warrant, and the Calvert County Sheriff's Department doesn't.
I'm saying state agency, if they're doing it, let's say Calhoun County Sheriff's Department is doing this on ICE's behalf, they would have to disclose that. But if it's for other law enforcement, regular law enforcement purposes, it's whatever protocols Department of Public Safety has for that agency regarding authorized requests. So if they're trying to, if they have a suspect, not immigration related, but if they have a suspect and they're trying to get more information, like to get a driver's license match, so they can then arrest, go to get the address for that person and then arrest them, they would be authorized to do that without having to provide, under this bill, without having to provide any sort of warrant. But
I think we're going round and round a little bit. Why don't I go?
We're going deep into it. I agree with you, Mr. Chairman. I just think we're creating two separate levels of law enforcement. So I probably won't be able to support this bill.
Okay, Delegate Jacobs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Another one of these jointly assigned bills, and I don't know much about it from, just popped up on the voting list today. I went back, tried to look at the testimony. There was a lot of testimony. There was a sheriff who was oral only. I couldn't see what his testimony was. He was unfavorable, and I wanted to see that. So, and then I tried to find the votes. I couldn't find that. So could you tell me the vote of the Judiciary Committee?
Patrick, do you have that?
Hold on. Do not have it.
I bet I know what it was, though. We can find out. We can get that, I assume.
I understand. I probably know what it is too, but I'm just curious because this was added to the voting list, while we were on the floor, and I didn't get time to really prepare properly, and I'm just trying to get some information. So
why don't we go to, now I understand. I'll tell you what, why don't we hold this until the end of the voting session, and maybe we can ask our friends in Judiciary to scare up that voting list for us. How about that? Okay, without any objections.
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yep. Let's go to House Bill 90.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
House Bill 90 had a favorable recommendation from the committee. And as amended, the bill requires Department of Housing and Community Development to administer its programs and activities to affirmatively further fair housing. It further establishes that local jurisdictions have a study to affirmatively further fair housing and requires them to submit an assessment of their fair housing as a component of the housing element of the local jurisdiction's comprehensive report. There are several amendments, Mr. Chair. Amendment number 1 makes technical changes to the purpose paragraph. Amendment number 2 requires certain regular report of the Department of Housing and Community Development. And amendment number 3, there are several bullet points on amendment number 3. Requires DHCD to explore ways to ensure its collaboration with and supporting nonprofit and government entities devoted to furthering fair housing. It also strikes provisions requiring political subdivision or housing authority to submit an assessment of fair housing to DHCD prior to receiving financial assistance and makes conforming changes, and establishes a duty that DHCD require political subdivision or housing authority to submit an assessment of fair housing to DHCD as part of the housing element of a comprehensive plan. Amendment number 4, Mr. Chair, alters the reporting date established under the bill with regard to an assessment of fair housing to include in the comprehensive plan of a local jurisdiction. It also requires, on request of a local jurisdiction Department of Planning and consultation with DHCD, to provide technical assistance for the purposes of developing housing element and comprehensive plan, and requires a local jurisdiction that has completed or revised certain aspects of the fair housing analysis implementation to incorporate the assessment or analysis of the local jurisdiction's comprehensive plan. Mr. Chair, that's what the amendments do, and the bill, Mr. Chair, is simply a reporting bill, Mr. Chair. I move the amendments, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion on the amendments? Do you guys have questions about the amendments or the bill itself?
I have one about the amendments.
Okay, go ahead, Jerry.
With all the amendments that were added, was there a revised fiscal note to that?
Yeah.
Cost the local governments mandate any more spending to the local government?
And that's what I was attempting to allude to at the end when I said that the amendments now make the bill simply a reporting bill. And so the fiscal note is, I think the change in the bill by making just a reporting bill now takes care of the fiscal note. Yes.
Okay, and when you referred to comprehensive report, were you referring to the comprehensive plans of most of the counties? Or you meant a comprehensive report on just the housing part?
Just the housing part. And I'd like to have Matthew to weigh in on that as well.
It's the housing element of the comprehensive plan.
Yeah, so it's a comprehensive plan, not just a comprehensive housing report.
It's
something
including as part. Sorry.
Okay. I was just going to say comprehensive plans are done about what, every 10 years?
10 years.
Yes.
Okay.
This bill accounts for that.
Okay, Charles, do you want to talk on the amendment?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, my questions were similar. I saw the concerns of MACO and MML, and I hope that these amendments have addressed that, and that's what my question is.
Mr. Chair.
Perfect.
Brooke,
Mr.
would
Chair.
you like to respond to
Sure.
that?
We worked extensively with MACO and MML, and they are now supportive with these amendments.
Okay, on the amendments, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The bill is before us amended. Is there a
Move the bill as amended, Mr. Chair.
second?
Second.
Any discussion on the bill as amended?
One question.
Yes, Neil.
Thank you. Are the whereas clauses still in just as they were before the amendments?
The whereas clauses did not get removed, by the amendments. That is correct. It did not get, so the whereas clauses are still in the bill.
Great, thank you.
Okay, on the bill, all those in favor? Oh, did somebody have a question? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Who's opposed? Anyone opposed?
I'm opposed.
Delegate
No.
Parrott, Delegate Wyvil, anyone else opposed aside from Parrott and Wyvil? Okay, the bill carries. All right, House Bill 414. Who has that? Dave?
I have this one, I believe.
Oh, you have it.
Mr. Chair.
Okay. Sorry.
This is
go
a
ahead.
bill. This is a bill that came in from the Appropriations Committee. It's jointly assigned. We're secondary on it. It was as amended. It requires MDOT to promptly undertake all steps necessary to complete the design, engineering, and NEPA process, and to secure a record of decision for the Southern Maryland Rapid Transit Project. The bill requires the governor to provide at least $5 million in funding during the period from FY23 to FY27 for a NEPA study on the project contingent on matching funds from the federal government. The committee amendments are the bill. So it was amended heavily. It was basic. And so it's now the amendments are in fact the bill itself, which is what I just explained. So move the amended bill.
Second.
Okay, on the amendments, any discussion? Delegate Jacobs on the amendments?
Maybe
Doug
the amendments, it's either the amendments or the bill, I'm not sure which.
The same
Well, the
thing.
amendments are the.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You can, yeah, well,
That's what I'm
let's
saying.
vote. Let's vote on the amendment and then we
Okay,
can.
go ahead.
Amendment and the bill. So all
Okay.
those in favor signify by saying aye, opposed no. The ayes seem to have it. The ayes have it. Bills before us is amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Jacobs and Clark in that order.
All right, so the $5 million, depending on matching funds from the governor. So that I assume is going to come from the budget, not from the Transportation Trust Fund. Is that correct?
I need to look back. Sorry.
The matching,
The matching funds are from the federal government. The
I
$5 million.
understand.
Okay.
I'm talking about the 5 million.
Hold on, let me grab the bill
that's
itself.
from the
unless
Transportation
Patrick-
Trust Fund.
So
Okay,
that's still coming from the Transportation Trust Fund. Is that correct?
Yes.
For did you say a 3-year period?
23 to 27. Between
4 years.
FY 23
4
and FY
years.
27, 4 years.
So it's $20 million out of the Transportation Trust Fund for the NEPA study.
Yes, yep, and from the Transportation Trust Fund, yep,
Thank you.
sure.
Okay, Delegate Clark.
So the reference of original, the 27 million originally, the other 7 million is going to come from the federal government supposedly?
There is no, I don't know what the 27 million is.
Well,
There's no
27 million was in the original bill.
Okay, yeah, there's that's not, that number is not in play anymore. I don't know how much the federal government is planning to give us. But we would put in $5 million contingent on receipt of federal funds that were matched, that at least match that.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion or debate on the bill? All right, seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, so I think all the Republicans are opposed. So that would be Charles, Jacobs, Wyville, Parrott, is Ciliberti, and is
Clark.
Anderton here? Is Anderton here?
Yep, I'm right here.
Are you voting yes? Are you voting no?
Yes, no.
You're voting no. Okay, so it's party line vote. It's party line vote. Okay, the bill carries. Let's go to House Bill 480. Dave.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I beg that the committee is good to me. We didn't have enough time to get all the reports printed off, so Patrick is I'm gonna be heavily dependent on Patrick. House Bill 480 was voted favorably out of subcommittee with several amendments. Move the amendments.
Second.
Okay, let's Patrick, tell us what the amendments do.
Sure. The amendments alter certain defined terms. They require a vehicle in a charging space to be plugged into charging equipment. With the charging spaces that require signage, alter signage standards, and strike the requirements for pavement markings. This is the bill on parking spaces for electric vehicles.
Okay.
And I did, Chairman, I did reach out to BG&E. I'm waiting to hear back from them on some of the parking things that we've talked about.
Okay. All right, on the amendments, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Ayes seem to have it. The ayes have it. The bill is before us as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
On the bill, any discussion? We'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Delegate Parrott is opposed, and Carl Cornbread has his thumb up, so he's in favor. Okay, the bill carries. We will skip over the 485 and go to 574.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 574 is the Stable Homes Act. That's HOMES, not HOLMES. And that HB 574, Mr. Chair, received an unfavorable report from the subcommittee, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
I can't do that. I'm sorry.
I heard somebody else second it, so.
Okay.
I did,
Okay.
yes.
Delegate Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to say that obviously we've heard this bill before. I have a lot of respect for the subcommittee chair, who I find very stable, as well as the subcommittee membership. But I just wanted to, I will be voting against the unfavorable again. I do think this is an important step forward for tenants. And more importantly, I'm just going to stick with my vote that I made in the delegation.
Totally understood.
Delegate Ruth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Did the Montgomery County delegation support this?
Yes, they did. They've supported this 3 or 4 times, and it's 4 times, and it's died in this committee 3 times so far.
Thank you so much. I'll be voting against the unfavorable. Thank you.
Okay. Delegate Lehman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I do want to be consistent, so I feel kind of silly asking this, but I believe perhaps this vote may have taken place a couple minutes before I joined the subcommittee, but could I have someone check that for me? I think that was maybe a meeting that you joined when we were discussing some other housing bills, if I'm thinking of the right bill. And I came in, I may be afterwards. So I don't want to vote inconsistently. I have a concern about that. If I've already voted unfavorable, I'm going to stay with that if I did in the subcommittee, but I just am not sure.
We don't record subcommittee votes.
We don't. And
Nope.
This was an HRP, correct?
Yes.
Correct. Yes.
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 Yes, it was an HRP.
We didn't do, we would have done a voice vote. So I'm not even sure. Okay. I'm just not sure if I was there or not.
This was not done today, if that answers your question, Mayor. This was not done today, Delegate Lehman, if that answers your question. This bill was not was not heard today in the subcommittee.
Right. I know. I do
Okay.
realize that. Yeah, I would like to, then I'm in the same camp as Delegate Stewart. I have, great respect for those who don't support it, but I am a no on the unfavorable.
Okay, Delegate Ampry.
Yeah, I'll be voting in favor of the unfavorable report, if that makes sense. But I wanted to say that I love the spirit and intention of the bill. I think that we have to figure out innovative ways to make housing more affordable. I struggle as a corporate attorney who does contract law. This bill troubles me to have the state interfere with contracts. So that's one problem that I have with the bill. And the other problem that I have with the bill is I see there's possible situations where the intention of the bill will not be fulfilled. I know several landlords throughout here in Baltimore, and I know there's probably the same in Montgomery County and other counties, where there's individuals who work their hardest to find certain sectors to help them find housing that's affordable. And I think that this bill might make it where if that person were to leave that sector, for example, there's a lot of people who give housing to Teach for America students. And, if you leave Teach for America and become an accountant and you're making tons of money, and it's time for that house to be flipped over to the next Teach for America students, something like this would forbid a landlord from being able to ensure that that house is actually being used for the good of making housing affordable, right? So there's situations where I think this bill actually can harm some landlords who are trying to do good by what they are providing in the housing market. So I think that this is a good idea. I think that there's ways we can rework this under the corporate laws that we have, and there's ways we can make the contracting work and create some other ways. But as it's currently constructed, I will have to support the subcommittee's unfavorable report.
Thank you.
Delegate Wells.
Thank you. So I'll be voting position to the unfavorable. And I guess I'll just say, I was hoping that this year might be the year we could find some common ground on just cause. And I hope that next year, there could be more dialogue with some of the management companies in a genuine way towards their agreement about what a just cause could look like with what Delegate Ampray shared, but also I think what some of the needs that we know do exist, what those needs could look like in terms of how they can be addressed. So that is why I'll be voting against the unfavorable.
I'm sorry, you broke up there at the end. You're voting.
Yeah, my reception is really bad. Like everyone is stalled. So I'm voting against the unfavorable. Is really
Okay,
all
all
that
right.
matters.
Okay. Delegate Terraza, then Delegate Fraser Hidalgo in that order.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Wait a minute, hold on. Sorry, my mistake. Brooke Lear first,
Chairman,
then
right.
Jen Terraza, then Fraser Hidalgo. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think it's unfortunate that we can't pass measures like this. I mean, 14 other jurisdictions are already doing it, and it seems to make a lot of sense to me. And I hope that, if this isn't the year, I hope that next year we can do something and move forward on this, especially since the whole Montgomery County Council and the Montgomery County delegation voted to support it. It just seems like a really important measure. So, I will support the subcommittee, but I think that this is a really important issue and something that we should be doing.
Delegate Terraza, then Fraser Hidalgo.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with Delegate Learman and Delegate Wells. I'm very uncomfortable with the unfavorable on this, and had hoped that this would be the year that we could get this worked out. And I'm really torn on this, but I believe I'm going to vote in favor of the unfavorable. I'm still thinking about it, but because I'm going to respect the vote of the subcommittee.
Okay, Dave.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think a couple things I just wanted to mention. For me, Delegate Ampry hit the nail on the head. This bill has been before us 3 times. I have voted against this bill, 12 times. I voted against this bill back in delegation. So it hasn't come out of the Montgomery County delegation unanimously. Again, Delegate Ampry hit the nail on the head for me. And I will say that I respect the intent of the bill. And I think that most of us can look at our voting record just over the last couple of weeks in the House of Delegates to see how much work that we're doing to help folks in this time of need. And I think we're going to be doing more and more of those kinds of votes, but there's been at least a good half dozen votes out there already. So thank you.
I'd like to speak because this is something I actually feel pretty strongly about. I've never liked the concept of this bill. And, my wife and I sold our houses and we're renting in Rockville Town Center. And there was this guy down the hallway who was smoking like a chimney, and he was smoking marijuana. And we wanted him, obviously it's a violation of his lease, and we wanted him evicted. And the management company said, his lease runs up in 5 months. We don't want to spend the $8,000 to go to court to evict him. We'll just wait 5 months. And one of the other neighbors was pretty angry that that they weren't going to spend the $8,000 to evict him immediately. Of course, I'm an accountant and I saw the logic of it. And we needed some amenities to be upgraded on the 4th floor hallway. And so, I thought that was a perfectly fine solution. Now, let me say that I have spoken to the prime sponsor of this bill in the Montgomery County delegation. And one of her main concerns was the issue of retaliatory eviction. And I told her that over this interim, I'm going to work with her to address that specific issue, because I completely agree with her that retaliatory eviction is something which, while it's already illegal, is something that we ought to be able to more properly identify and enforce against. And so I happen to think that the way to do that is to alter the law with respect to presumptions in the law about evidence relating to if you're a tenant and you had a month's rent in escrow, or there's a oven that's not working and it was never fixed and you've complained about it, and then your lease is not renewed. I think that's a situation of retaliatory non-renewal, and I think the law ought to specifically look at that. And I'm committed to working with Delegate Janelle Wilkins on that. I made a commitment to her, and but I am going to vote in favor of the unfavorable motion when we do the roll call. So, with that, Trish, let's do a roll call.
Vice Chair Stein?
This is on the unfavorable motion, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, yes.
Holmes?
Yes.
Learman?
Yes.
Fraser Hidalgo,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Jacobs,
Yes.
Weibel,
Yes.
Amprey.
Yes.
Silverty,
Yes.
Wells,
No.
Delegate Love, Ruth,
No.
Stewart,
No.
Lehman,
No.
Harrison,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
Parrot,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Jalisi,
Yes.
Anderton,
Yep.
Gilchrist,
Yes.
Healy,
Yes.
Chairman
Chairman.
votes yes. So I think that was 20-4.
19-4 with one absent.
Oh, that's right, with one absent. Okay, motion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Mr. Chair, this was certainly a hard vote, and I certainly wanted to be consistent with my vote. And I echo the sentiments of Delegate. I'm just, because this has come up so many times, I first of all, I just want to thank you for your commitment and hoping that next year this is something we do. It's discussed and really looked at, because I think there is merit to it. I just honestly struggle with the legality of it. And so I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay. All right. Bill fails. House Bill 626.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 626 is a Prince George's County local bill that was voted favorable out of subcommittee with amendments. The one major amendment that I'll just let Patrick talk about the one major amendment so I don't mess it up.
Well, the major amendment is to put the truckers amendments on, which is to establish a work group to lay out routes that trucks may use, put that on GPS, delay the effective date while they do this. Same thing we did for Baltimore County.
Yep, same as Baltimore County. We tried to keep
Just
them
last year.
as possible. So we
Move
have
the
to
amendments.
moving forward.
Any discussion on the amendments? Hearing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes seem to have it. The ayes have it. The bill's before us as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the bill as amended? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Delegate Weibel votes no. Anyone else? Any abstaining? Okay, the bill carries.
This is, sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah,
This is House Bill 626, right?
correct.
Yes, it is.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. House Bill 933. This is a little complicated. Go for it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 933 is a local bill, transfer tax bill, housing trust fund special revenue. This is from Anne Arundel County. The bill authorizes Anne Arundel County to increase the transfer tax rate on a written instrument conveying the title of a real property or leasehold interest in real property if the actual consideration is $1 million or more, and establishes a housing trust special revenue fund to be used to provide affordable housing to moderate and low income individuals in the county, including the city of Annapolis. There were no amendments on this bill, Mr. Chair. I move favorable on HB 933, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Wait a minute. I
There
thought
was an amendment.
there was an amendment.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? Oh,
There was
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
recommitted. Yeah.
Wasn't that the point?
Yeah. Was.
Oh, I'm looking at old, I'm sorry. I'm attempting to go virtual and with no paper, and obviously I'm not doing it properly. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
If
Well, do you want?
hang on a second here.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. The amendment, committee amendments. The committee adopted proposed amendment, but that the county delegation that removed from the application of this bill transfers of real property that provides affordable housing or for moderate local individuals in the county. And two, clarify that the revenue derived from the tax rate in excess of 1% of the actual consideration paid or to be paid shall be distributed to the special fund of the bill. And I'm sorry, I do apologize, members of the committee and the chair.
That's okay.
And those are the two amendments.
So,
I move the amendments, Mr. Chair.
okay, is there a second on those amendments? Somebody has to second.
Second.
Okay, before I recognize Delegate Clark, Matt, could you describe to the committee what the most recent amendment that the Anne Arundel County delegation wants, what it does?
Yes, so essentially the bill is drafted, if a property were over 1 million or were $1 million, let's just use 1 million as an example, and assume that the transfer tax rate was 1.5%. The total transfer tax would be, I'm doing the math correctly, $15,000. Yes, $15,000. In the bill as drafted, the entire $15,000 would go to this new special fund to create low and middle income, or to support low and middle income housing. In the bill as amended, the portion up to 1% would stay in the general fund. It would go where it would normally go. And then the excess, the 0.5%, the $5,000 excess in the example, that would go into this new special fund.
Okay, so basically only the portion assessed again for the value over $1 million would go into the fund.
The additional percentage assessed would go in. 1% of the transfer tax would still go to the general fund as
right.
As
so
is
really
the case right now.
So really the portion over $1 million would go into the new fund.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, yes.
All right, so Delegate Clark, Otto, and Lehman in that order.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Anne Arundel County delegation, did they vote on these amendments?
Yes.
Yes, yes, they did.
These were actually their amendments. This is the reason why we had to bring the bill back, because to put these amendments on it, because these were their amendments.
Yeah, I didn't want to do this on second reader on the floor. I preferred to bring it back into the committee.
So we recommitted the bill back to committee because they had amendments on the bill.
Okay, was it fairly unanimous on their part? I don't even know how many people in there.
No, it was a party line vote, I think.
Was it?
The Republicans voted against it because it's tax. They see it as a tax increase, and
okay,
you know,
that's what I want to know, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Delegate Otto. You're muted.
Thank you. My line, you answered half of my question. The other part, I take it that the county executive is for this measure.
Yes.
Yes, I believe that the amendment the bill as presented, the county executive is in favor of, and I believe the amendments came as a result of conversations with the county executive's office.
And has the county council weighed in on this measure, or?
There was no testimony received from the county council at the hearing.
Very well, thank you.
But it is, sorry.
I was going to recognize Delegate Lehman, that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So in answer to Delegate Otto's question, I did, this came up in the Anne Arundel delegation about the county council, but when this was raised in subcommittee, I couldn't remember the answer, but I asked Delegate Bartlett. Sandy Bartlett is the chair this year of the Anne Arundel delegation, and she said the county council did not oppose it, but they didn't take a position. They're waiting. It's enabling legislation, so they're waiting for it to pass to take it up and debate it. But they did not take a position. But of course, County Exec Pittman definitely wants it. That's
okay. Anyone else before we vote on the amend? We have to vote on the amendments, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay. All those in favor of the amendments signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. On the bill as amended, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on the bill as amended? Okay. Trish, let's do a roll call vote.
Go.
Vice Chair Stein,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Learman,
That was a yes.
Yes.
Fraser Hidalgo,
Yes.
Otto,
No.
Jacobs,
No.
Wyval,
No.
and Pritt.
Yes.
Siliberti,
No.
Wells,
Yes.
Delegate Love, Ruth,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Trassa,
Yes.
Parrot,
No.
Boyce,
Yes.
Clark,
No.
Delisi,
No.
Anderton,
No.
Gilchrist,
Yes.
Healy,
Yes.
Chairman votes yes, and Delegate Siliberti will want a vote count.
I have 15-8 with one absent. One-
Okay,
Close.
yeah.
We're
Making
getting
it
there.
closer. Okay,
We're getting there.
the bill passes. House Bill 941.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 941 was voted favorably out of subcommittee with 2 amendments. Amendment number 1 authorizes the city to decrease speed limits or raise speed limits to a previously established level. And amendment number 2 prohibits speed cameras on a portion of the highway where speed limits have been reduced without a study. Move the amendment.
Okay, is there a second for the amendments?
Second.
Okay, any discussion on the amendments? Hearing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes seem to have it. The ayes have it. Bills before us as amended. Is there a second?
Second. Second.
Any discussion on the bill? Jay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go for it.
We had a pretty lengthy discussion on the bill. It's had a lot of discussion, I'll put it that way, and a lot today. And I'm not comfortable with the lack of
study.
The study, I'm sorry. But anyhow, I'm going to support the bill. I'm voting yes on the bill. You know, I did support the Complete Streets program, and, you know, we don't know a whole lot about it, but I got to take them at their word that, you know, they've done their due diligence, and I'm going to hold my nose and vote yes on the bill. Thank you.
There's no bad reason to vote with the subcommittee. Okay. Any further discussion on the bill before we proceed to a vote? Okay.
That's one thing.
Yes, Delegate Parrott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to be excused from the vote. Just wanted to say that.
You're a traffic engineer, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
I thought so. Okay. So don't call him Dr. No, Marvin. Okay. All those
So is that an abstain for Delegate Parrott?
excused under the rule.
Okay.
Excused under the rule.
Okay.
Okay. All those in favor of House Bill 947 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's 941.
House Bill 941, Mr. Chair.
What did I say? Oh, 941. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Any opposed? And one excused under the rule. And Love is excused, has an excused absence, and somebody. Okay. Well, the bill passes.
Mr. Chairman?
Okay, what?
Chairman, may I have a sec?
Sure.
I just wanted to say thank you to the subcommittee. This bill required a lot of conversation and a lot of debate. And I wanted to say thank you for everybody's patience and determination to work through this bill to its end. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Subcommittee Chair. Well done.
Okay. 947.
House Bill 947, Mr. Chair, was voted unfavorably out of subcommittee.
Is there a second?
Second. Second.
Any discussion on the unfavorable motion? Delegate Ruth.
Thank you. I was just curious what the reasons were behind the unfavorable.
Sure, Delegate Ruth. Through conversations it really comes down to access to the database. And we could not find a way to move forward without compromising the security of the database that MBTA uses. So they wanted to make sure that that database is locked down and secure, and the bill would have allowed access to other parties, which made them exceptionally nervous. We tried to work through the bill, had several conversations with the sponsor of the bill, and this was just the determination that kind of everybody came to.
Thank you so much.
Good bill. It's a great bill. We talked about it and try to see if there's a way to make some version of it work next year.
Okay, motion is unfavorable. All those in favor of the unfavorable motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to the unfavorable motion? Okay, the unfavorable motion carries. Do you want to vote against the unfavorable motion, Melissa?
Can I explain my vote?
Oh, of course.
Okay. So I definitely support the work of the subcommittee and the conversations with the chair of the subcommittee as well as with MBOT or MTA. And I think that I'm interested in seeing if there's anywhere to go from here, but that this is not necessarily perhaps the right vehicle for us to expand services to individuals that are seeking treatment for addictions. But I do think the committee for their hard work on this.
Very well then. The unfavorable motion carries. Let's temporarily skip over 967 and go to 971, Talbot County Speed Monitoring System. Dave.
Okay, thank you. House Bill 971, Talbot County Speed Monitoring Systems was voted favorable out of subcommittee with, I believe it was just one amendment. Again, I don't have the paperwork in front of me. And the amendment to the bill requires speed monitoring signage before they get to the speed cameras. I would like to call this almost the Wyville amendment, but that's what the bill does. Am I missing anything else, Patrick?
Well, the amendments basically conform the bill to ENT standards for speed cameras at single locations.
Is there a sunset?
Yes.
5 years.
5 years. Okay. That's in the amendment also?
Correct. Yes, this one didn't. Yes.
Okay. So on the amendments, the Wyville, Delegate Wyville, you have your hand up.
Hello. I do, thank you. So the signage is the real speed. I just want to verify that.
Sorry, say that again, Delegate Wyville.
The signage is.
I'm sorry, Delegate Celebrity, could you please mute yourself, Delegate Celebrity? Delegate Celebrity, please. Delegate Celebrity, please. Thank you, Delegate.
There we go.
Okay, Delegate Wyville.
Thank you. I just want to verify the signage is the real-time posting of speed, correct?
That is correct.
There is both signage and real-time posting of speed, both.
Okay, and this is just one location, correct?
That is correct,
All
AKA the Wyville Amendment.
That's all I get out of this committee all year, huh?
Yep.
Don't worry, be happy.
Okay. On the amendments, I believe there was a second, and okay, all those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye. Opposed?
Aye.
The ayes have it. The bill's before us as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the bill before we proceed to a vote? Okay, let's vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Opposed, nay.
Otto, Jacobs, Parrott. Anybody else opposed?
Ampry.
Siliberti.
Siliberti is opposed. Cornbread, what about you? Are you for it or against it?
So talking about Johnny's bill?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I got to roll with Johnny. I mean.
Okay. And Otto is against it. Okay.
No, I'm good.
So opposed would be Jerry Clark. Are you for or against it?
I'm for it. I'm okay with it.
All right. Okay. The bill passes. Let's now jump back to Delegate Bridges' bill 967.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 967 was voted favorable out of Subcommittee with one amendment, very similar, almost exactly the same as House Bill 971. The Wyville Amendment, again, real-time speed monitoring and signage. And there is a sunset on it as well. It's a little bit shorter. It's 4 years and 9 months, something along.
Correct. This bill came in with a 4-year, 9-month sunset, so we just left it as is.
Yeah.
Wow, that's curious. Okay. Is there a second for the amendments?
Second.
Okay, on the amendments, Delegate Wyville.
No, just on the bill.
Okay. All right, we'll vote on the amendments. All those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the bill is before us as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Delegate Wyville on the bill as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So these are 2 locations. Are they fixed or are they, can they be moved around? Do we know?
Doesn't say.
So it just says 2 locations.
It says
Because the other bill was specific to a location. This one is not.
I mean, 83 isn't that long.
I'm sorry, what's that?
I mean, I-83 in the city is, I mean, you know, it's not super, super long.
It's not. Okay.
No, it's
Thank
not
you.
really.
No, it's pretty
12
short.
exits or something. It's not that long.
Okay.
And we've got real-time speed monitoring and all that, Dave?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you.
We were trying to set kind of the standard for these because we have the Indian Head Highway ones we've done in the past, and then I-83, and then we just are getting them. So we're trying to comport everything to make it all standard moving forward and meeting all of the prerequisites that the ENT committee has. And the previous bill and this bill meet those requirements.
Okay, Delegate Jalisi.
My question was answered.
Okay, great. All righty then, on the bill, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Who's opposed? Jacobs is opposed, Parrott is opposed, Siliberti is opposed.
Otto.
Otto is opposed. Anybody else? Cornbread is opposed, okay.
Yeah, you get one every once in a while.
Okay. Okay.
I'm okay with this.
Yeah, I meant to say this when I voted, but I've driven over that section of 83 and it's scary. It's a scary section of I-83. Anyway.
And Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
If I may, same thing on these 2 bills as the previous bill. Some of this is policy and subject matter that we've been working on, and some of it now over the last year or 2 are things that we're kind of trying to make standardized. And I appreciate the conversation again from the subcommittee and making sure we do the best we can to get this and apply it all over the state on these 2 particular issues. I mean, what we're doing is we're trying to save lives. We're trying to save lives.
Right, and there were deaths in both locations. Okay, House Bill 967 passes. House Bill 977. Who's got that? Is that you, Ann?
No,
Marvin.
That's me. I'm sorry. Hang on a second here. As I indicated earlier, I am attempting to go paperless.
And you're choosing now.
House Bill 977 received a favorable report from the subcommittee. Mr. Chair, the bill replaces a public safety surcharge with a public safety and behavioral surcharge in Prince George's County. The bill goes into effect on July 2021. I move the bill, Mr. Chair, and there are no amendments.
Is there a second? Any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The bill carries unanimously among those present. House Bill 1010.
House Bill 1010, Mr. Chair, received a favorable report from the committee. There are no amendments on this bill. And this bill authorizes Prince George's County to enter into a pay in lieu of taxes pilot program with owners of specified low-income housing development. And this bill also takes effect on July 1st, 2021, Mr. Chair. And I move the bill unamended, move the bill with no amendments. Mr. Chair.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on the bill as amended?
It's not amended.
No amendments. No
I mean
amendments.
unamended, you're right, I'm sorry. The bill, as it stands, Delegate Jalisi, you want to speak on?
This is, yes, sir. This is HB 977, right?
Negative, HB 1010.
1010.
Sorry, I was on the wrong bill then. No, I don't
Okay.
have any questions.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor of House Bill 1010 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, none in opposition. The bill carries unanimously among those present. House Bill 1061.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 1061 has actually, Mr. Chair, I see now that my attempts to go paperless is flawed because what I have in front of me now says there are no amendments, but I know that there are amendments to House Bill 1061. I am so apologetic. Hang on one second here.
Really, how apologetic are you, Marvin?
Really apologetic. Okay, so there is an amendment. Amendment number 1, Mr. Chair, strikes multifamily after the line registration. And also amendment number 2 actually adds dwelling units. Dwelling units means a building or part of a building that provides living or sleeping facility for one or more individuals. That's basically what the second part of amendment does. It adds dwelling units to the description of what Charles County is doing. Charles County in the bill is a code county, and Southern Maryland Code County only refers to one county in the state of Maryland, which is Charles County. So I will move the amendments, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Okay, we'll proceed to a vote. Oh, no, hold on. Delegate Clark, do you have a question on the amendments or the bill?
On the, I guess, amendments in the bill, I'm just wondering what the delegation vote was on the amendments or the bill as a whole.
Well, this was their amendment, and obviously this was their bill.
It was unanimous.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've got a text saying that the delegation vote on it was 3-2.
The vote tally sheet that I have from delegation staff shows that vote on the bill and amendment to the bill was unanimous.
Okay.
Okay, Delegate Otto.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just asking, I saw the realtors and the builders had some issues with it. Do the amendments satisfy their concerns or?
No, sir.
They do not.
No, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, on the amendments, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the amendments carry. The bill is before us as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the bill as amended? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Who's opposed?
Opposed.
Clark, Otto, Wyval, Parrott, Siliberti, and I'm going to assume
Correct.
Jake. You go over. Jacobs, are you against? Jacobs is against. Cornbread, Cornbread's against. So it's a straight party line vote. Okay. Bill passes. House Bill 1114.
Okay, that one's mine. I want to thank the subcommittee, and I want to make an explanation too. The subcommittee met, and Delegate Ahrens agreed to all the amendments that we're going to discuss. As amended, the bill prohibits a person from disposing of yard waste on a highway. Basically, that's the short summary.
Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2, which is from the subcommittee, excludes plant waste derived from certain activities performed by electric companies from the bill's prohibition, provides that the prohibition does not apply to yard waste that is placed on or near the curb or the edge of a residential street for a scheduled pickup, and authorizes instead of requiring a court to order a violator to remove the yard waste or provide reimbursement for yard waste removal. And that is what came from the subcommittee. After the subcommittee voted, there was another issue that was brought to my attention, and I talked to the sponsor and proposing an amendment that is under my name because I didn't take it back to the subcommittee because of time constraints. But the sponsor agrees to change the violation of the bill's prohibition from a misdemeanor to a civil penalty. So it's not a crime. It is just, you get a ticket. And it's up to the dollar amount. So the courts would be able to decide what's reasonable on the circumstances of the particular case. So those are the amendments. I would move the amendments.
Second.
And there's a second. Wyville speak on the amendments or the bill itself?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The amendments.
Okay.
You said up to what limit? Is there?
It's the same as we didn't change the dollar amounts. It's just up to what was in the bill original.
So it was $300 first offense and $1,000 subsequent.
But it's up to, it's not.
They remain?
Yeah, they remain as the limits. They can't go beyond that.
All
The
right,
judges
thank
can
you.
make it lower than that.
Okay, on the amendments, all those in. Okay, on the amendments, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes seem to have it. The ayes have it. Bills before us is amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion
Second.
on the bill? Okay, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Nobody's opposed. Okay, bill carries unanimously among those present. House Bill 1207.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The subcommittee recommendation is favorable with amendments. But before I go through the bill, I want to thank the subcommittee and especially Delegate Boyce, who is a member of the Environmental Justice Commission for their and for Delegate Boyce's work, especially on this bill. This bill makes several changes to the Commission on Environmental Justice and Sustainable Communities. The bill alters the composition of the commission and the designation of the chair, requires that to the extent practicable, the membership must reflect the racial, gender, ethnic, and geographic diversity of the state, requires the Maryland Department of the Environment to provide new commission members with a specified orientation, requires the commission to meet at least 6 times per calendar year, and alters and expands the required duties of the commission. Amendment number 1 is technical. Number 2 alters definitions, alters the composition of the commission, and strikes language that would have required the presiding officers to appoint some of the commission members, alters provisions relating to meetings of the commission, and alters provisions relating to the commission's duties. Move the amendments.
Second.
Okay, on the amendments, any discussion? Okay, I don't see anything. So all those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes seem to have it. The ayes have it. Bills before us as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the bill as amended? I don't see anything, so we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
This is HB 1207, right?
1207. Delegate Parrott is opposed. Anyone else? Okay, the bill carries. The bill passes. House Bill 1239.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 1239 was reported out of the subcommittee favorable with amendments, plural. And as amended, the bill establishes an appraisal gap from the historic redlining financial assistance program and fund within DHCD. The purpose of the program is to provide financial assistance to affordable housing developers working in low-income census tracts in order to help close the appraisal gaps that occur in historically redlined neighborhoods. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 adds acquisition costs as an eligible construction expense It also makes conforming and clarifying changes and requires a report of the funds deployed to census tracts with a majority racial minority population. Amendment number 3 is significantly important, Mr. Chair, in that amendment number 3 strikes the language establishing a mandated appropriation. Boy, again, amendment number 3 strikes the language establishing a mandated appropriation. Amendment number 4 alters the calculation of financial assistance under the program, and it also strikes provision requiring DHCD to approve applications for financial assistance in a certain order. And again, I want to emphasize that part as well. Part of that amendment strikes the provision requiring DHCD to approve applications for financial assistance in a certain order. And amendment number 5, Mr. Chair, requires DHCD to conduct a certain study and produce a report by June 30th, 2022. I move the amendments, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Second. Yes, Delegate Learman on the amendments.
Yeah, on the amendments, I just wanted to say thank you to the subcommittee chair and the committee. In their discussion, they actually identified the need for one additional small amendment. There was a verbiage change, right? So Matt has that amendment and Trish circulated it. So I hoped we could just include that instead of, there was just an error. Basically, it should say eligible construction expenses instead of qualified development cost. And they caught that in their subcommittee discussion. So I just wanted to see if we could include that amendment with the rest of the subcommittee's amendments.
And I apologize, Delegate Learman, I just completely forgot. Yeah.
Okay. Any more discussion on the amendments? Okay, on the amendments, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the amendments carry. On the bill as amended, is there a second? And there's a second. Any discussion on the bill? Brooke, do you still have your hand up, or is that just from?
Oh, no, sorry.
That's okay. Okay, all those in favor of House Bill 1239 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, Wyville, Parrott, anyone else? Okay, the bill passes. House Bill 1285.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 1285 received a favorable report from the subcommittee. This is a Howard County bill, and it's Howard County bill for fee for rental housing services. The bill establishes additional fees on rental housing licenses issued in Howard County to fund legal and educational services to tenants and landlords as specified. I will move the bill without amendments, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all on the bill as, I'm sorry, was that amendments or?
No amendments, Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
Okay, any discussion on the bill? Delegate Jalisi.
I just wanted to know what kind of rental housing services is the fee being established for?
It was an educational, oops, let me, hang on, boy. I guess me and this.
It would fund legal and educational services to tenants and landlords. Educational services for tenants and landlords, and legal services for certain tenants.
No, is the money coming from somewhere? Where is it coming from? I understand where it's going.
It would come from a surcharge as part of the licensing fee.
And how much is the surcharge?
Let me just pull up the bill to ensure that I have the exact numbers.
An additional $30.
Per rental property?
Yes.
Is it for every unit, $30 more?
Beginning fiscal 2022, the bill establishes an additional $30 rental housing license fee in the county for specified dwelling units.
So there's a $30. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. You got it. Go ahead.
No, I said it's $30 right now for each rental housing unit. So now it's $60?
No, it would be $30 at the time of licensing. So it's because of the licensing in Howard County is a biennial fee, it would work out to $15 per year. And then there's also, if the unit is a moderate income housing unit or other unit for which rental rates are restricted through federal, state, and county agreements to ensure long-term affordability. The fee would be $15 in fiscal year 2022. Both fees in fiscal year 2023 would be subject to alteration by resolution of the governing body.
Right, so that's what I was asking. So right now it's $30 for every 2 years, so it doubles it, right? By adding another $30. Am I getting it right?
There is no fee for this purpose right now. This would establish the fee.
No,
The
there is
fee
a
right
rental
now is
housing fee.
$93.50.
There's a fee for licensing. There's not a fee for
Right. So it goes from whatever it is now and adds another $30 on top of it, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
For over 2 years.
In
Okay,
Howard
thank you.
County.
Okay, Delegate Weigel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this was an 8-4 vote amongst the Howard County delegation. And I know House Bill 18 is also moved through, and it provides the same legal services for tenants that this bill does. So I'm not going to support this bill. In addition, there's already a $93.50 fee on licensing. So this is $30 on top of the $93.50.
Okay, so I've forgotten, did we have amendments or is this just the bill as it came in?
This is without amendments, Mr. Chair.
Okay, and we had a second. Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Right. Oh, do you have another question? Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I'm following up on Delegate Weibel's comment that we already passed a bill. Is that right? That basically does the same thing?
Delegate Weibel is talking about other bills that are in the House now.
The statewide bill he's referring to.
Okay, thank you.
House Bill 18.
I'm sorry, did somebody have something to say?
Sorry.
I heard somebody, oh, Delegate Healy?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that the statewide bill passed the House, but it's not law. It hasn't passed the Senate, and we don't know whether it will pass it all the way through at this point.
Delegate Boyce.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to confirm that it is a fee on top of a fee.
It's an additional surcharge that will be paid as part of the licensing fee.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any further discussion before we go to a roll call vote? Roll call.
Vice Chair Stein,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Learman,
Yes.
Fraser Hidalgo,
Yes.
Otto,
No.
Jacobs,
No.
Weibel,
No.
Lamprey,
Yes.
Silverty,
You're muted.
No.
Okay.
Wells,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
Parrot,
No.
Boyce,
Yes.
Clark,
No.
Jalisi,
No.
Anderton,
Can't do it.
That's a no.
That's a no. Nay.
Hillcrest,
Yes.
Healy,
Yes.
Chairman.
Chairman supports the subcommittee, yes. Okay, the bill, what is the margin? What is the margin? I know
15 to 8 with one extra.
15 to 8. Okay. Bill passes. House Bill 1293.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 1293 moved favorably with amendments out of the subcommittee.
Not mine.
That's an LUE bill.
That's 1239. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I was getting them confused. Okay, 1293. This bill was moved favorably out of the subcommittee with 2 amendments. The amendment number 1 makes technical changes to the purpose paragraph. Amendment number 2 provides that the president of Coppin State is the chair of the authority, strikes the requirement that a Department of Commerce staff the authority, authorizes the authority to manage appropriate funds from the city of Baltimore and the state, authorizes the authority by a majority of its members to modify its boundaries. And that is all. These amendments were adopted and recommended by Baltimore City delegation as well. Move the amendments.
Is there a second for the amendments?
Second.
Okay, any discussion on the amendments? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes seem to have it. The ayes have it. The bill's before us is amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the amended bill? Delegate.
I'm not sure if I should have asked this with the amendments or now, but why was the chair of the authority changed from the state Commerce Department to Coppin State?
The Department of Commerce did not want to be in the bill and did not want to be part of the authority, so we took it out.
Okay, thank you.
Good answer.
Okay, Melissa, you had your hand up briefly. Are you okay?
Yeah, I was just gonna speak on the bill. But,
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, one, just, this, I think it's a great victory for our new colleague and my colleague in the 40th Delegate Ampray. But this is really just a part of a broader vision for bringing together the West North Avenue corridor and individuals, some may know, or for those that may not know, but a lot of hot spots in terms of crime as well as open air drugs markets in Baltimore and really in the state are along that corridor. But there's so much promise, and we have a lot of work happening in various communities like Penn North, Upton, also Coppin Heights CDC, is that Coppin is really a major stakeholder institution over there, and is also a university. And so one of the things that we're really trying to do is to create, strengthen the community and also create more housing for students, which will also help create some more viable revenue for Coppin State University, which is one of our state's historically Black colleges and universities. So I want to thank my colleague, Delegate Ampray, and also thank the committee for their work on this bill.
Okay, Delegate Parrott.
Thank you. I was just curious, do we have other studies like this around the state that have been funded with state dollars like this one's proposed to be?
Not a study, and this is not going to be funded with state dollars, just as setting up an authority, which is a group of people who will meet and be the point people basically for development in the area. So it's not like there's going to be a whole, any money that comes from the state would be money that would not go to the authority, but that would go to redevelopment. Like if DHCD had some program and it was going to develop an area, some portion of this area already. But it's the point of the authority is just to bring everybody to the table and be on the same page so that they can make sure that money is being spent effectively and efficiently and development is happening in the appropriate way.
So it sets up an authority. Couldn't the city just do that on their own?
Well, it has state actors, I believe. I need to go back to the bill. And so it's more appropriately done at the state level.
Okay, and in the fiscal note, I saw that it's 229,000 in fiscal 22, and 301,000 in fiscal year 2026. I guess it increases each year by that amount. I mean, goes between that range to about 230 to 300,000.
My understanding was that was mostly because of the Department of Commerce, but we're taking them out. I don't know, Matt, do you have other thoughts on that? Go back and look again.
Second.
While he's looking, Delegate Ampray, I think.
Yeah, that was because of Commerce. It says Commerce advises it needs to hire 3 additional staff to staff the authority, plan and host meetings, and that will cost $300,000. But we're taking Commerce entirely out of it. And so there will be no, all of that goes away. In any event, DLS disagreed and thought that the authority would be assisted by private entities. So, but that money goes away because Commerce is out of the bill.
Makes sense. Thank you. And
Sure.
yeah, I was just saying, I think it's a good idea to have a comprehensive plan on the west side. And I'm guessing this is like around 40. It's kind of like where I-70 meets the Beltway. If you were just to drive straight from there in, is that kind of the area?
No,
You have to keep going east. Sorry, go ahead, Delegate.
No, I would tell it's very close to the Penn North area. Unfortunately, you know, this area became noticed and known due to the tragedy of Freddie Gray. So it's more so in that region, and you know, it's something that we really need as my colleague. Thank you for the kind words. No, well, it's something we really need in the area. My family came to the area in the 30s and 40s and 50s. It was thriving. It was an area that was a place where there was a lot of success. There was opportunity, and it's gone away. So it's important that we figure out a way to get it back, and we figure out ways to ensure that as development comes to the region, that it's equitable and that the residents of the region actually benefit from whatever is coming in.
Very good. And I'm sorry, just one more thing. So the funding's, since Commerce is out, it's not by the state. Who would be funding it? Is that the city or private developer groups or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that like funding will be necessary. These are going to be volunteers coming together to make sure that they're all the different groups are on the same page in terms of the work that is happening. So, I mean, I don't know, in terms of funds will actually, like capital funds will be needed to redevelop some of the properties, but that would just happen in a, like this authority is not going to have bonding capacity or anything like that.
Right.
It's bringing a group of people together to develop and approve, you know, sort of a neighborhood revitalization plan. So everybody's on the same page. To the extent that they would need to hire consultants or something, that would have to come in from either city money or privately raised funds, or they would have to come back for money from the state, but they're not getting any money in this bill.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, let's vote. All those in favor? Wait a minute, did we have amendments? Did we vote on the amendments?
I think so.
Yes.
I can't keep track anymore. Okay, on the bill as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Anybody? Nobody's opposed. Bill carries unanimously. One goes present. Let's go back to Delegate Corman's bill, House Bill 67. We'll do that. We'll do the Solomon bill, and then we'll go back to the Stein bill. So House Bill 67, Brooke.
Great. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Nice to see you again, and nice to talk about HB 67 again. So HB 67 is an emergency bill, and it establishes various requirements for P3. So we talked about this yesterday. We went over the amendments. There are two additional amendments that Delegate Wells brought to our attention yesterday that we are going to move to be part of the amendment package that we approve. And those amendments will clarify the language around what a project labor agreement is. And we'll also, I'm trying to get to the change. We'll also strike on page 4 of the reprint, we'll strike lines 25 to 28, which is a section of the bill that states prohibits the Board from approving a phased public-private partnership agreement or a section public-private partnership agreement that expends additional state funds for the program beyond what is allocated in the CTP as of October 1, 2021. So that paragraph will be stricken from the bill or struck from the bill. Struck? I don't know.
Removed.
And yes, so I would move the 9 pages of amendments.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, on the amendments, any questions or discussion? Okay, we'll vote on the amendments. All those in favor signify saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to the
Aye.
amendments? Okay, the amendments carry. On the bill as amended, is there a second? Discussion on the bill.
Second. Okay, I'm sorry.
Delegate Wells.
Yes. Yes. No, I just wanted to thank the subcommittee chair just for our great conversation yesterday and for working with me on it. And I think that I definitely think that this is going to put us in a good position. The reason why I wanted to add the piece around the not allowing use of state funds because it wouldn't allow the state to begin the environmental review process because they would need to use those funds. So I think that now this will allow us to do that process, which is what a lot of the advocates are also asking should be done. So I just wanted to thank her for her support on this as well. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for reaching out.
Yeah, and before I recognize Delegate Frazier Hidalgo, let me just say that what we have here now is a bill that I believe increases our oversight and does not harm the project as it's going forward. That's my belief. Delegate Frazier Hidalgo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was going to pretty much say kind of a similar thing. I am in a kind of a split district where I know that there are some folks in my district, the southern part of my district, that don't really care much for this project, and there are some very vocal folks in the northern part of my district that would really like to see this move forward. So I wanted to say thank you to the chair, to the subcommittee chair, as well as Delegate Wells for helping kind of bridge all those gaps and try and make sure we can move forward with something at some point. So thank you.
Delegate Vaughn Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Very briefly, Delegate Wells is good. Project labor agreements are good. The bill is good. Happy to vote green.
Okay.
Very good.
Very succinct. Okay, anyone else want to discuss this? Neil, did I see you putting your hand up there? No? Okay.
I didn't, but I
go
will be
ahead.
voting now. I'm not too comfortable with it right now, but thank you.
Okay, all right. All right, on the bill, let's be safe and do a roll call. Roll call.
Vice Chair Stein,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Learman,
Yes.
Frazier Hidalgo,
Yes.
Otto,
No.
Jacobs,
No.
Wyval,
No.
Ampray,
Yes.
Silverty,
No.
Wells,
Yes.
Love, Ruth,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Trassa,
Yes.
Harrod,
No.
Boyce,
Yes.
Clark,
Jerry?
No.
No.
Jalisi,
Yes.
Anderton,
Cornbread?
he's not in his chair.
Okay, absent.
Gilchrist,
Yes.
Healy,
Was that a yes?
Yes. Yes, yes.
And
you're
the,
right.
and the chairman votes yes, and please give us a vote tally.
I have 16-6 with one excused and one absent.
Okay. How the bill passes. House Bill 485. Brooke.
Okay, so 485. We also reviewed yesterday, and Delegate Wells is offering one further amendment to the amendments that we discussed yesterday. Let's see. I think I also neglected yesterday to say that one of the amendments makes the bill an emergency bill. So I'm sorry about that. But this bill will be an emergency bill then.
We'll let you slide on that.
Yeah, thanks. For a lot of amendments. So Delegate Wells' amendment will strike on page 5 of the reprint lines 2 through 5 that require that an EIS be complete before the PSR is done. So there will still be a requirement for any P3 with a total value that exceeds $500 million to have a pre-solicitation report of each contract under the P3, but the PSR will not require a final EIS when that is Delegate Wells' amendment. So I guess I'd like to move that amendment with all the other amendments.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the amendments? Okay, just very quickly, Brooke. So basically, these amendments preserve the structure of a progressive P3, basically, correct?
Yes, I'm not entirely clear on what the term progressive P3 means, but my understanding.
It's something that Vaughn Stewart would vote for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chair.
Yeah, Melissa and then David.
So to that question, some people may disagree that it's a pure progressive P3, Mr. Chair, because of some of the other things, but overall it allows more commonly that they can do kind of pre-solicitation work for other phases, but it would still require, I think, some approval along the way. So it just allows them to kind of begin the planning process. So I would
Okay.
say yes and no, maybe.
Semi-progressive, right. Okay. DFH.
That's actually what I was gonna say.
Oops, we lost him. Dave?
Is there?
He's frozen.
Here, if I hit him, maybe something will happen. Apparently not. Okay. All right. So any discussion on the amendments? Let's vote on the amendments. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The amendments carried. The bill is before us as amended.
Second.
And there's a second. Any discussion on the bill? Okay, well, before we go to a roll call, it would really be nice to have David, I guess, is David jumping out and in?
Possibly.
Okay,
Yes, he did get up.
okay. Okay, well, let's do the roll call and we'll get back to Dave.
Harry, hold on.
Oh, okay. Dave?
I'm back. It's my fault. It's not my fault.
Yeah, sure.
The problem Melissa's having, it just, sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. I hope you
Yeah.
know.
Okay, roll call.
Vice Chair Stein,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Learman,
Yes.
Fraser Hidalgo,
Yes.
Otto,
This is the bill as amended?
The bill
Correct.
as amended.
No.
Jacobs.
I just like to explain my vote a little bit as I go here. I believe this rebuilding of this process is going to make it much.
See you on Alan. I'm not voting next.
It's going to
He's
make this
explaining his
process-
vote.
I'm explaining it now. It's going to make this a much more difficult process. It's knocking out the private sector input. And for that reason, I'm voting no.
Okay,
Weibel,
No.
Ampray,
Yes.
Silberti,
Barry?
No.
No.
Wells,
Yes.
Delegate Wells, Delegate Love still up. Ruth,
Yes.
Stewart,
I'm not so sure there's such a thing as a progressive P3, but I hope we will consider calling it a P4 if there is. Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
That was a yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Trassa,
Yes.
Parrot,
No.
Boyce,
Yes.
Clark,
No.
Jalisi,
Yes.
Anderton,
Absent.
Gilchrist,
Yes.
Healy.
Yes. And I think it's a 3.14. It's another piece of the pie.
And the chairman votes yes.
Touche.
5 days after Pi Day, right? Okay. Okay, the bill carries. We are going back now to House Bill 23, and we do have a vote tally list from Delegate Clark. We have a vote tally list from the Judiciary Committee. The vote was 13 to 7 to 1. It's straight line, and Delegate Kurt Anderson was excused. So,
Yeah, I got, Mr. Chairman, I got the email and I appreciate that
oh, was it you? Okay, I'm sorry. I
with the
thought-
vote count. I
Okay,
appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay,
They sent
I'm
me-
sorry. I misremembered. I thought it was Jerry who wanted it, but okay.
That's all right.
All right, so we were on discussing the amendments, if I remember correctly, right, Dana?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I presented the amendments and then was taking questions on them.
Okay. I think unless there's somebody else who wants to talk on the amendments, I imagine a bunch of people want to talk on the bill. All right, on the amendments, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the amendments carry. The bill is before us as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, who would like to talk on the bill as amended? Delegate Boyce.
So I just want to quickly clarify, and hopefully the Mr. Vice Chair can clarify. This essentially, if ICE decided that they were going to look up Regina T. Boyce, they would have to have a warrant.
Yes.
Isn't that so? Okay. So I think the comments earlier, and I think to what I think Delegate Clark was trying to get to, I don't want to speak for him, was about, is this just, because what I understand is like they're a whole different agency pretty much in our database, and then pretty much searching it without warning, without cause, without notification, and most importantly, without warrant. So for me, as well as just being able to be in our database willy-nilly, they can pull up information essentially on anybody. So I thought I wanted to clarify that.
Well, that's a good point, Delegate Boyce. I mean, this really is a narrowly tailored bill to what, many folks feel was misuse by ICE of the state database for purposes of picking up people to deport them. So that's the reason why we're setting this higher threshold of requiring a warrant for access for immigration purposes.
Thank you.
Okay, in this order, Delegate Ruth, Delegate Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is essentially, although it says it's broader, it's essentially the MVA bill from last year, but it's more broadly applied.
Yes, Delegate, it is broader this year.
Okay, thank you. And also to Delegate Clark's point, and I guess this goes along with what Delegate Boyce said, that I think ICE has broad discretion that other law enforcement agencies don't have, which is the reason for the need to curtail them specifically.
Okay, Delegate Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess my question, one question just came to mind from Delegate Ruth's comment is, does ICE really have any broader discretion than the FBI or the U.S. Marshal Service when it comes to using that database?
Well, I don't know for sure if that's the case, but what I can say is that there have not been complaints about abuse by the FBI for non-immigration purposes of their access to the state database. We've heard are complaints about ICE, so it's really the use of their authority that has been the issue for immigration purposes.
So the issue isn't necessarily so much the abuse of ICE of the system to the fact that ICE is using the system to enforce immigration laws.
No, well, Delegate, I guess to be specific, this bill allows access to our state database for enforcement of the immigration law with respect to criminal enforcement, but with respect to civil enforcement for merely being able to get data to go pick up someone who is undocumented but has not been a crime. That's what ICE has been doing, and that we feel has been an abuse of states' databases.
Yeah, I still got a lot of different feelings on it, but that's enough questions on it for me. Thank you.
Delegate Healy.
Yeah, I just would like to kind of discuss for a second. The reason this is an issue, in my opinion, is that we created a driver's license for undocumented people because we wanted a driver's license to be for driving on our roads, and you get insurance and you learn the rules of the road and you're subject to all of those things. And you actually go and get a driver's license, and not for government identification purposes. And when we created that, we had the idea that that's all it would be used for, as distinguished from the real ID that would be a government identification card. And when we found out that it was being used by ICE, the very thing that we wanted to give people confidence that they could get a driver's license and follow the laws of Maryland and learn how to drive and get car insurance was being undermined. So that's why I think this bill is really, really important that we do this. Thank you.
No, very important point.
Okay, Delegate Fraser Dalgo, then Jalisi.
I think that Delegate Healy put it really, really well. And the only thing that I would add was when she used the term undermined with some pun, that that they are mining that database for information that they shouldn't be. That's the point of this bill. Thank you.
Delegate Jalisi.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So based on what Delegate Healy just said, so the ICE would be mining the database for driver's licenses issued to undocumented immigrants instead of just looking up the ITIN numbers? Because whoever, aren't they required to have an ITIN number before they get a driver's license?
I don't think so. I don't remember that being a requirement.
So like if I go to get a driver's license, I am required to have certain information, which, especially with the new driver's license, which is having a copy of my lease to show where I live.
That's the real ID.
These are non-compliant licenses.
Yeah, these are not.
Right, okay. So then what are they required to provide? Which would be identifying, obviously nobody's asking them whether they're on a visa or not. So if I was an undocumented immigrant, what would I be giving that would be passed on to ICE?
Well, the information, Patrick could.
Well, your address for one.
Yeah, no, I was going to say Patrick could better say what the requirements for getting this second-tier driver's license are. But as Patrick said, what ICE is doing is they might have a name of someone who they believe to be undocumented. They might even have a photo. What they want to do is get that person's location. And so they would, as has been used, mine the database of driver's licenses to make a match, to find out where the person lives, and then go pick them up for purposes of deporting them, even if they have not committed, any crime. So that's what we know has been happening, and but it could be used in other purposes. Maybe they have an address, but they want to get a name. Same thing.
No, but my question was what we are trying to stop ICE from getting into the database that only state has. And my understanding is the only exclusive database that the state would have is the driver's license. So what are they asking? What is the state asking to issue a driver's license?
Even what do they require?
Like what's exclusive to Maryland, which federal government already doesn't have? Because that's the whole idea of the bill, right? That we are trying to.
I think David has the answer. I think.
Okay. So I think to Delegate Jalisi, to your question, they file Maryland state taxes, so they do have to have an ITIN number.
Right.
I don't know if that answers your question, but these are Maryland taxpayers.
Right, I know. So they have to have ITIN number.
The ITIN number. Per your earlier question, they do have to have an ITIN.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. And but that is also an ITIN number they would use. Like in my company, I use people who have an ITIN number, and they do a great job, and I use them. I've been using them for many years. But don't they also file federal taxes?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
federal government already has that information. If ICE wanted to target someone, wouldn't they just
Oh,
use
the
the
IRS
federal
doesn't
tax
share
return?
Please call me back.
But ITIN number is not just. I mean, ITIN number is not the purview of. I mean, the comptroller. What you're saying is the comptroller would be more prone to release that information to the ICE instead of the IRS without a warrant, right?
Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Delegate Juisi, I can't speak to the ability of ICE to access those identification numbers, via the IRS. But what we do know is that they are accessing our own state databases for purposes of immigration enforcement. What's useful about a driver's license is that you've got the address and you've got the photo. So we know that that there have been these facial recognition searches as well, using driver's licenses, other photos which the state might have on file. So, again, in terms of what federal data ICE can access for these purposes, I don't know. And this bill.
Yeah, I'm not sure that that's relevant to the purposes of the discussion of this bill necessarily, but let's move on to Delegate Learman and then Fraser Hidalgo in that order.
Sure. I just, I wanted to just speak up in support of the bill. To me, this is such a no-brainer. And we, part of the reason that we allowed folks without documents to get a driver's license is because it's safer, right? We want to encourage people to get driver's licenses so that they know the rules of the road and that, and so to me, anything that, this bill makes sure that folks don't have a reason to not get that driver's license. And, their fears have proven to be very founded, right? Because this data is being shared. So this is just, it makes a lot of sense. It'll help make sure that the roads are safer. Immigrants will not have to fear if they go get a driver's license again. And, it'll make sure that everybody is safer. So I think this is a no-brainer bill. Thanks for bringing it, Vice Chair.
Delegate Fraser Hidalgo, and then we're going to vote. I think we all know how we're voting. So
We do. I mean, I would just say to some of the points that have been made, this is specifically targeted at ICE because they're the ones specifically doing what they shouldn't be doing. I don't think that the FBI or the IRS or some of the other ones, the security they have for that personal data is at a different level. The reason we're doing this is because, well, I already said it, but everybody knows how they're going to vote. Thank you.
Okay, roll call.
Vice Chair Stein,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Learman,
Yes.
Fraser Hidalgo,
Yes.
Otto,
No.
Jacobs,
No. And Mr. Chairman, I think Wild was presenting a bill on HDO.
Okay. Well, if he gets back before we finish the roll call, I'll ask for his vote. Go ahead. Who's next?
Ampray. He also had a bad connection and dropped off for a minute.
Okay, we'll try and pick him up at the end.
Ciliberti,
Yes.
No?
Yes.
yes.
You're voting for, yes?
Yes.
Wells,
Yes.
Delegate Love is excused. Ruth,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes, absolutely.
Harrison,
Yes.
Trassa.
Yes.
I have Delegate Ampray coming in. Parrot,
No.
Boyce,
Yes.
Clark,
No.
Jalisi,
No.
Anderton. He dropped off, I believe. Absent. Gilchrist,
Yes.
Healy,
Yes.
Chairman votes yes. Is Will, are you back? Okay,
Ampry is-
Markham is excused.
Delegate Amprey's back.
Ambrose
Delegate Ampray is back.
I'm back. I'm voting yes.
Okay, Amprey's
Thank you.
voting yes. So Cornbread, you still out? All right, he's
I'm in the hallway. He's talking to somebody.
Snitch.
okay, absent. Okay,
Good job, Marlon.
so that, yeah.
Blower.
Right under the bus Cornbread goes.
Yeah, you need a bonus for that or something. Anyway, okay.
Well, no,
So that
it
ends-
looked like a very important conversation.
Oh,
I'm not
stop
gonna-
it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That ends the voting session. And I'm going to ask the members of the leadership team to stay on, I think, and for us to take down the live stream so we can have our, so my vice chair, my subcommittee